this is a hero that in the actual fight, you can jump one of the backliners. So it's like an initiator, but after the fight actually starts, which is kind of cool. And okay, they just go with the instant anti-mage pick because it's super good against the Timbersaw. Because
and the Storm.
Yeah, and then the Storm. So that's actually a really solid pick. But I don't know if AIM's that good of a hero in general, though, is the thing.
Yeah, and this lane's going to be kind of rough, because I guess it'll be Enchantress Timber versus an AM, so it's a lot of pure damage that counterspell's not going to help you with. No targeted spells, I guess, really. Enchant kind of counts, but not really. That's a tough lane, but it is a nightmare situation for Storm Spirit, though.
The green team's banning
This is a tough Storm game, dude. The only hero he's good against is this Warlock, because you can jump on him in the fights.
Yeah.
But Nyx, like, that's such an easy carapace. You've got the mana burn, the chain stun. Leshrac is going to take a dump on Storm in lane.
Is there anything that can be locked in as the last pick to maybe make Storm's life a little bit easier?
So Gambit are looking for their carry. It's going to be probably something early game oriented. I don't think you win the late game as Gambit against an anti-mage.
I think that would, maybe you could, like, if you go with some PA, you know, some hero that completely obliterates the anti-mage in the late game, that could work.
PA versus Leshrac, though?
That's the thing, is like when you have the Lesh AM in the late game, like they cover a lot of bases, at least in the late game. Like these heroes are a little weird to pick together because they both kind of take up a lot of space in the early game. But if you do get to the late game, like Lesh and AM carry in a totally polar opposite way.
5 seconds
so that does suck for a PA.
What's a dream hero in this situation? Then they ban out the Jug, Terrorblades out, Morphlings out, and then the Gambit bans.
Faceless Void is banned.
What's the ban in between AA and Faceless Void?
That's Tidehunter?
No, Tidehunter's to the left of Faceless Void.
I have no idea what that is. I'm going to be totally honest here.
Like, I think it's Ursa.
Some sort of demonic thing.
Okay, I mean, I'm down for an Ursa ban.
Sure.
I think it's Ursa.
Okay. Execration, they need their offlaner, so hence the Viper and the Tide bans.
Is Mars banned?
Mars is still in.
Okay, Mars seems like a very obvious choice right now. It's good lockdown for the Storm. You have the Mars Warlock combination. Mars plus Leshrac just locking people into this pit for the Mars for the Leshrac to do a ton of damage. Like, it just seems too good. And it's some hero to go in first and get stuff done. Like, once again, we have the same issue with the draft with the Execration, is that there isn't really a hero that as soon as the game hits like 5 or 6 minutes, that's going to want to run around and fight people. So I think they absolutely need that, and they have great team fight to make space for the anti-mage if they pick something like a Mars, maybe even a Centaur. Is that in the game?
Centaur's in the game, and that was Nico's comfort. The only thing is I don't think that takes advantage of Fatal Bonds too much. It's a great initiator, but like then their team fight is just Fatal Bonds and Pulse Nova. Yeah. And that's it.
Well, if we look closely at the computer, we can see what they're going to pick here.
Let's see. I know.
His feet are just straight on the mouse pad there.
He's chilling.
His feet are on the mouse pad?
Yeah.
That's really dangerous.
He's picking heroes with his heel.
You can accumulate fuzz on the mouse pad.
That's true.
Yeah, you have to be careful with socks on the mouse pad.
Take the Bloodseeker, and you were liking Afterlife's Bloodseeker also, so this is really annoying for Timbersaw.
Yeah, it's one of these drafts on Execration where it seems like they have a lot of counters to the Gambit draft, but I think it's a little bit less well-rounded.
Yeah.
It's just counters. And
their five heroes seem a little disconnected.
Yes, I would agree with that, for sure.
And now Gambit needs something to lane up against a Bloodseeker Nyx Assassin.
Carried Lifestealer.
You may now select your hero.
Okay, so I mean, the Lifestealer, this is a hero to bomb with the Storm, so you were asking for something to kind of enable and play with the Storm. That's the hero. It's really good against Anti-Mage. It's good against Leshrac. It's good against Anti-Mage because you do physical damage, good against Lesh because you don't care about magical damage, but terrible versus the Bloodseeker. Then again, you can infest if you get Ruptured, so that's one of those double-edged swords where it's like you have this BKB Piercing Disable in the Rupture for the Lifestealer, but also he can infest and just walk with Rupture on, and that's fine.
What do you think Lifestealer's build is going to be this game? Because I'm seeing a lot of different Lifestealer builds. I'm seeing like early Scotty sometimes. I
would say probably he's going to go probably Armlet Deso, just because how are they going to push towers if he's the one hitting towers right now? And you have a Timber to tank for you, so you can actually put some tower pressure on and win the game early. And I don't think you want to go late game against Execration.
Yeah, it seems like Execration somewhat has that inevitability if they do manage to get there. So what do you think Gambit's path to victory will be here, Tsunami.
I think they're going to mow down towers. Enchantress sustain, Timbersaw just parking himself in front, Storm Spirit with that backline assassinations.
Yep.
I'm leaning towards Gambit for this game number 2.
All right,
I'm with
well,
you.
let's see if Tsunami is right. We're going to be throwing it over to the game. Let's get this one started.
So Lacoste, here we've got the Life Stealer bombs. They need to hit their timings and a ticking time bomb in the anti-mage on the other side. Which way are you leaning for these two drafts?
I'm leaning towards, let me just check, Execration. They have anti-mage plus less track. What I want to see from Gambit is aggressive tri-lane against AM and just leave Timbersaw alone in one of the lanes. So, you know, put some more pressure on AM. Just try to shut him down. If that doesn't happen, I'm a bit worried. Team fight whatsoever, Enchantress plus Lion, they're strong laners, they have a Timbersaw, but AM, 2 items can easily just take over the game, especially against the Storm Spirit. Eventually you're going to need to get a Lincoln Sphere, because you might kill your own team, something that you don't want to do unless you're briefing.
So then we're relying on these Storm Spirit timings around his items, the Life Stealer Infest bombs to try and catch out individual targets with the Lion and the help that they have there. Kind of use the Timbersaw as bait, potentially, to get themselves out of that laning stage.
This is a pretty popular support duo, mostly in Southeast Asia. I see that CIS also loves it with Enchantress plus Alliance. So let me just check what they're doing. If they're planning on tri-laning Gary, or if they just want to play it normal.
Get ourselves into game 2 here. It's best of 2, as it looks like for now. BZZ wandering up towards top with the Lion there as well, but this is more indicative of them potentially securing those bounty runes early on, and they've left the Life Stealer alone down
Maybe
bottom
they
for now.
showed him bottom on purpose, so they think, you know, Life Stealer's bottom, no aggressive tri-lane. I love Enchantress Lion, I love Tuscan, potentially aggressive tri-lane, so let's see what they decide to go for. Someone's drawing on a mini-map, it's brown.
And that Life Stealer is moving. Dream, like you said, made that swing from bottom lane back in towards mid. Might even consider sniping out this little bounty rune at the bottom spot. And he's waiting down there. We might get 3 for Gambit. He runs up towards RR, and Bloodright is going to zone him away. And Dream misses out on it, so just going to be the... Oh, it's not a 2 for 2. Look at that little sneak out from BDZ. Grabs the 3rd one for Execration.
The reason why I wanted to see an aggressive tri-lane is you get your mana burn as a Timbersaw, then you really don't put any pressure on the AM. It's also anti-mage plus Warlock, which means that he's going to be full HP, can afford to blink in aggressively, burn your mana, and then the lane is kind of done. Of course, he's going to buy that Soul Ring. Anti-mage also, like, you burn Lion, he might get the mana drain back. Warlock starting with very interesting build, just getting the Fatal Bonds level 1.
Yeah,
Connecting on the full creep wave and 2 heroes.
Shove the wave, try and get level 2 a bit faster, put that pressure on. Palas taking a bit of damage there from the Whirling Death level 1 out of Afterlife. He does lose his Curry in the meanwhile also. Lion has his work cut out for him, like you said, the sustain from RR's Warlock here, definitely difficult to deal with, especially when he gets that with the points up in the Shadow Word.
He blocked a small camp, RR will be able to deward that immediately.
Very nicely done. So they'll be able to drag that wave back and reset it. Anti-mage can get healed up when they hit level 2, which is pretty shortly. And like you mentioned, they've burned through Afterlife's mana pool. He's got nothing left. He's half HP. Looking a little worse for wear up in that top lane. A good start for Execration there. We can take a peek into some of these other lanes because mid, that Storm Spirit, 10 and 3, up against the Leshrac, who is at 2 and 0. Lacoste.
Storm Spirit gets level 3 faster and start playing aggressively, has his bottle coming up to him, rune spawning in 15 seconds. Yowie just needs 1 extra CS to get that bottle.
Is that what we expect though? Such a drastic difference in CS between the 2 mid laners. 7 last hits difference there. Lorenoff having a crack
It shouldn't be that bad. It's just that Leshrac misplayed it. He gave it level 3 faster. Storm Spirit. I was focusing on top, but I can only imagine what happened. We go back to the bottom lane, talk a bit about it. BZZ finally gets a creep. On a Life Stealer, gets a point in rage, something that you don't want to get early on, especially when you play against the 2 melee heroes. BDZ did a good job blocking off the the small camp with the sentry and just body blocking the big camp. So you know that he's gonna keep doing that.
Yeah.
So Enchantress can get the big.
You have to. Make sure Ench doesn't get that momentum from the early laning stage. I see Storm just continuing that race forward, doubling up on the CS of the Leshrac. Water Rune's coming as well, so he'll be able to refill his bottle.
Well, maybe you also need some water, Gary, huh?
Yeah, absolutely do.
Pick up that water rune.
Get the Water Rune, reset my throat. Down bottom. Niko being run at. Ench can't quite get the body blocks there onto the Bloodseeker, so he'll tango back up. As that top lane, Palos, anti-mage, trying to get it onto Emergent. Can't stick on the target though. Just going to have to rely on that heal and sustain for the Warlock. As a nice double wave comes back in towards his tower.
He has enough money to buy a ring. Courier not there, also lane pushing, so that means that he's not going to be able to get it anytime soon.
Fatal Bonds are messing up his last hits on the tower a little bit there as well, annoyingly enough for Palos. And we'll see what he gets up to and where he picks up that ring of health.
Healing cell, that's what you need to have as a position 5. Just bring some regen for your carry. Lifestealer on the bottom lane. Nicely 16 CS, 14 on a Bloodseeker, going Mana Boots first item. Not sure I like it. Mana Boots got a buff in terms of gold.
Yeah,
how much you need to spend it, but
Stupendous!
Rush,
So what is it?
I don't think it's needed. You know, just bring a Mango, bring possibly a Clarity. Maybe your position 4 gets a Bassi. But
Interesting. Does that indicate he wants to go Greaves later on? Or is he going to be into Atos?
I don't know, Gary. I'm a bit baffled by this decision, to be honest.
Bamboozled by the Mana Boots. Great 2-man turnaround stun from the AM with that little counter spell there. I've got the Fatal Bonds ticking away in Afterlife and Immersion.
Oh, he's missing a lot of CS on AM. Actually didn't get any of the 3 because of
dear.
Fatal Bonds.
Yeah, they're mashing up with it.
Yeah. Click the scoreboard, the stable health from Warlock.
That's not going to work. Well, he's still up there, 23 and 5, so he's not struggling too much. He can't do that much damage back to Timber there. He's lost all his mana. Well, mid lane, Yoe trying to get on top of Lorenoff. Storm Spirit still plenty of regen and HP to play around with in that mid spot.
That Mana Boots will give them mana. Nice.
Or will it?
Yeah, it will. So they can spam their spells.
How surprising. Palos picks up his ring of health over that top secret shot. So he's got even more staying power in that top lane. Afterlife, obviously he's got mangoes, he's ready to fight if need be. Might pop a couple in here just to try and get that damage onto the anti-mage. And he holds out. So far, you know, not too bad for the Timber Soul. This line's definitely helped him out, and they're not bleeding away any kills. That's the most important thing. No one's feeding. No one's giving anything away. And top lane, again, the counter spell back onto the lion. Palos really is on top of that. And Warlock just gonna get the pull across. Bottom lane. Looks like they're trying to get into ward. And just gonna whack out Niko, get him away from that lane. Got a Harpy there for the BZZ Enchantress, and like you've been saying, they've been blocking out these camps. And Storm Spirit, he's hit level 6 and goes on your way with a TV rotation arriving now from the Warlock. The turnaround with the Warlock.
Gonna be a return kill.
He's got the ball lightning, but not enough mana to get the distance. The personal over and first blood. Wrapped up by your Leshrac.
Warlock was not even needed. All he needed to do is pop a stick, a bottle, Fairy Fire, not even used. Like, he's not respecting the damage coming out from Leshrac. Leshrac is one of the heroes that got insane buffs over the couple of matches where his alt AoE is 500. It's like attacking people pretty much, so you can run them down. Before, I believe it was like 350 you needed to be on top of him.
Now it's real nice. They're trying to stay around that mid lane. They brought Dream in here to defend the tower against the Lesh with that Diabolic Edict. So a movement which they felt was necessary as Gambit ditched the bot lane.
To bring someone. Timbersaw does not have enough mana. Maybe if he pops a Mango, can rotate to the mid lane. This leaves Enchantress to collect some of the XP.
And now Dream's got that long walk back down towards bottom lane. Well, at least he's got the phase boots, so he will wobble himself down back to that tier 1 area. And Yoe, level 7.5 almost, that Lash back to Fountain. Could think and consider about his first rotation, or the stack screen could come and clear through them as RR has built up beautiful bank in that dire jungle and gets a D-wall.
Oh, that rotation from Yowie got scouted. Timbersaw, popping the mango.
Yeah,
Another one. Oh, gets burned.
there's the mana burn and the void. Nice start from Yoa as well, clear through Afterlife, while Storm Spirit is stealing a couple of those stacks that the Warlock had been picking up.
That was very costly that he popped 2 mangoes. And now Lashrak can go for a rune, can try to invade enemy triangle, see if there are any stacks there. Also, free bounty, why not take it?
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, this is very scary, right? We were talking about how the late game, the panel was mentioning this Execration side dragging the game out and looking incredibly good with this AM, the Nyx, the Lashrak up against this Radiant team.
Oh, more enough. Does not find the rune.
Oh,
Yeah,
sad.
go back to your talk, Gary. I'll answer the question.
Nico, he's TPing up. Yeah, when does Gambit really want to try and hit their stride? Is it around a Storm item timing, the Armored Lifestealer? What's the game plan?
Problem is, Timber getting shut down. He's not gonna feel comfortable playing into life because it's mixed damage. It's mixed magical and physical damage. Two supports are really not that good at rotating. Lion is okay-ish, but the Enchantress is mostly focusing on the laning stage. Sword Spirit always gonna need to be careful. One rotation from Anti-Mage. Bam. Mana Void, you can kill him, +1 extra hero. Potentially need to be very careful about it. Nico on the bottom lane after finishing the mana boots. Going into Road of Aethos against Storm Spirit, against the Timbersaw. That's just going to be a really, really good item. Something that we don't see. Teams taking the safe lane tower. Not
Found out! Easy sets it up. Double Sun under that vision, the Dire Ward scouts the Storm as he was trying to farm, and they've shut him down tremendously. At least Afterlife is going to be able to claim a tower up top as well, so structures are starting to fall here.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
They got 2 towers, so at least that's something good going for them.
Little by little, they can build up some kind of net worth for themselves. And Lifestealer is going to have a pretty good timing on his item build anyway. Armlet potentially back into a bit more damage. The SNY could be coming out for him.
Anti-Mage can't farm the jungle. The jungle is stacked, so he can't clear those camps. Needs to be in the lane. Lashrak, one of the better heroes, but just overall clear creeps around the outpost. I think that needs to be fixed in the next patch, where Dire has a much bigger advantage in terms of that. Like, you can farm those 2 camps easily, and exactly what Lashrak does.
Yeah.
He's there and will farm it.
The proximity of those camps. So nice for Medusa, for Lashrak, for Gyro, all these heroes. Clear through them at ease, and that's going to put him over 5,000 net worth, like 5.2k. So he's going to be sitting on that Yule Scepter now, 10 minutes in. He'll have it about 10:30. And this is a good time for him to go and smoke around with the Nyx Assassin, who's also at level 6. So he'll have Vendetta to scout, start things off, and Yoa can look for these early pickoffs. And Storm Spirit is an ideal candidate to go and grab because, like we've been saying, they need the Storm Lifestealer to get the ball rolling. As Emergent, he'll chain stun the Lashrak, but he's going to get found here by the AM and the Nyx Assassin. Lion will hand over his life to Palos. Ooh,
And they want
Nyx
to give
Assassin.
kill to Palos.
They do.
It's gonna take away what? He's gonna live.
Lion's going to juke away from this one. BBC wants the stun, takes the kill away from AM, but a bit of miscommunication coming through from Execration, maybe. And this allows a bit of time now for Gambit to get into mid lane. Catapult wave, shove into the tier 1. And Nico forced to stand his ground and defend it. A wrap around from Yoa though. Lauren off the ball lightning. He doesn't get enough in time. Yule's in a splitter. They're going to catch the Storm Spirit out. The chain stun perfectly timed, and Lauren off. It felt like he should have seen that
Why is
coming.
it so bloody difficult?
He faked Warlock ulti just to show that they're not there. We're not trying to kill you. And they actually do it.
Dire's
Now,
bottom tower
Yule
is
Scepter
under
done
attack.
on Lashrak. Storm Spirit, he's not gonna have a game.
No.
I see his item bill. He decided to go for Kaya, thinking about a BKB.
Oh.
No matter what you get at this point, like, it's just not gonna feel good. You need something that gives you mana. I wouldn't mind the Orchid Rush into BKB. Into Lincoln's possibly,
Yeah.
but you know, this is something that he can only dream of in this game because things are really not going well for him.
It's one of those difficult spots where you commit to the treads and you're thinking, wait, if I knock on treads and Orchid Rushed, maybe I would be in a better position.
It's just too many counters. He had a good start. Now Lashrak rushing that Yule Scepter. Great setup for either him or Nyx Assassin playing into AM, who has Battle Fury finished. 12 minutes in, no boots, has a band of Elven skin, so pretty damn good timing.
Yeah, and we're looking at these towers fall. You know, you mentioned the 2 side lanes going down early. The line up bottom, turnaround stun Yowie. Destroyed by Immersion, baiting out the Lord of Storm and guarding him with his life. But in comes the Fatal Bomb from the goal line. Great blocked on the Storm Spirit. He's sidestep as well, so he's going to get taken down by the Bloodseeker. RR picks up the final touch as Immersion under this tower. He's rushed up. Oh, goal just whacks him into the ground. It's a double for the Warlock.
Unfortunately for them, Leshrac died, but they got a clean up crew. Afterlife. They should kill on Warlock.
He wants RR, but it's a carapace from BDZ and the stun out will hold that Timbersaw back. Yeah, the fact that this Storm Spirit now is being dumpstered pretty hard by Execration means you're going to be missing out on those Lifestealer Infest bombs. Timbersaw didn't have a terrific start to his game, so he's not applying that same amount of pressure out on the map as a target for them to go on. And AM, he's freely farming.
Execration draft is well-rounded. They have good early game, they have counters to the enemy heroes. You're never gonna feel comfortable against Rupture. As a Lifestealer, as a Timbersaw, you have this mixed damage coming up from land.
Oh no. See ya. BZZ shredded.
BZZ. Second kill still. It's not like I'm counting, but you know, this is the second one that I noticed.
What's his item going to be then? If he's grabbed up a couple of kills, what's he buying on that next assassin?
I see a Yule Scepter queued up, already has that staff. I also wouldn't mind seeing a Force Staff, just to be able to push people out of the trouble. You get the value out of it, especially against the Lifestealer. Storm Spirit jump, Kaya done. On Storm, going into BKB, definitely needs a defensive item. Like, they don't have the best Roche taking lineup, so he can't get away with that. You know, maybe pick up the Aegis, then go for a different item build. It's just not going to happen this game.
It's very much a right here, right now. We need to start transitioning ourselves into team fight shape.
Infest bomb available if they want to go for it. I feel like teams and players got better at using Infest. It's not all about that bomb. It's more about the save that you get from the Infest.
Oh yeah, using it in a team fight. We saw in that series where RTW was jumping into Kuroki's Ancient Apparition to save him from any ganks. Radiant scanning, but it's just on the very edge of Anti-Mage where he was farming, and he's cleared the triangle. So he gets away from Immersion, makes sure that there's no jump onto the AM.
You have a win condition for Execration. You don't need to go greedy with the items. Leshrac not going Boots of Travel, which I really like, just wants to be able to fight with the team. Sanj, like Kaya Sanj is okay. BKB is also okay. I prefer Kaya and Sanj in this situation. But yeah, Boots of Travel would be relatively greedy considering you have AM in the team. So you got that covered. You also have a relatively good scaling hero coming out from the offlane with the Bloodseeker.
And you've got to know that the way back into this from Gambit is with those Lifestealer bombs, so if you play as 5, you're not susceptible to being jumped. Group up together and stick and play together around that top tier 1. Should be a simple, systematic maneuver here from Execration, and that's how they've got to play. No need to be rushing around doing anything crazy, just play your heroes, cast your spells, move around the map as a solid unit, and force Gambit if they wants to react to you.
Anti-Mage going for Manta style. I would prefer if this is SNY more than Manta. I've seen that quite often.
Okay.
Follow. But he has nothing to dispel.
Make a jump. That's a nice blow up on the next assassin.
I guess
BZZ. That's BZZ and BDZ, right? They're grabbing all the kills. Next getting themselves up on the board.
We'll see what AM decides to go for, because there's nothing to dispel. Like, he can't really dispel a single thing. Doesn't care too much about the enchanters. It's all about that status resistance when you're playing against Slime. Manta gives you more kill potential. You blink on someone, Manta style, burn mana faster. We'll just see what he decides to go for.
He's dropped. Yowie, that Leshrac just outputs so much damage.
Yowie has been, I think, the
shining star
pretty much in the Season 2 for Southeast Asia region. For Season 1, it was Yopaj, and Yowie, he is just doing a lot of things in this game. After horrible start, you said Storm Spirit had double his CS.
Yeah.
And now he's back in the action. He's sitting at 1,500 gold on top of him.
Yeah, he is. Wants to lead down to catch up to mid lane. Afterlife going to try and chain away. I couldn't finish him off through that hood, and the plate mail is grabbed up, so a tanky Timbersaw now. Also seeing a slightly go pass. Storm Spirit's on the AM. We're used to seeing the AM killing off the Storm, but he's now run out of mana on Lauren off. The double damage rune still going. And no real follow through for him.
He should be careful. Couple
Yeah.
of right clicks plus ulti could make a big play, turnaround play.
Well, yeah, this Bloodseeker, what's he going? Like Arcane Boots, Hood into Rod of Atos. He's going full utility on this Bloodseeker. So he's going to have the catch onto the Storm, which it might be lacking a little bit outside of the Lash Yules and that Nyx Assassin catch you were mentioning.
You still never feel comfortable playing into AM. Your mana is gone. If he doesn't die, can easily just blink in and get the big mana void. Decides to go for the Manta style in the end.
I'm a big fan of Warlock, saving 2,000 gold as well. He's got
Hand of Midas, Gary.
Yeah.
Is it time?
That's what I was wondering, man. I was looking at him thinking, oh, I know this situation all too well. Warlock, one of my favorite heroes.
I've been here multiple times.
Like Solar, guys, do we need Solar Crest? I don't really want to Solar Crest my anti-mage. I want Hand of Midas.
But what if you get Hand of Midas into Solar Crest? You get it not faster, but then you get like a half another item.
The acceleration is there. I might even be thinking about like Midas into the Aghanim Shard. Get that nice Shadow Word going. Now, Shadow Word talent's real nice as well.
Something bad is happening.
So much heal and sustain from your Warlock. As Execration take the bottom portion of the map now, jungle all controlled up, even scanning Roshan to make sure that Gambit aren't sneaking into that pit for an Aegis. It's a pretty balanced, even game though, 8 kill difference, but Gambit are keeping competitive in terms of net worth. Lifesteal is up there, nearly at the anti-mage's level, and they do move into Roche after the scan was used. So maybe unexpected here, as Execration completely out of position and no way for them to really contest this.
They don't know this is happening at the moment, so it's gonna be good. Stormford needs to get it. Stormford needs to pick it up. The best Aegis carrier in the game.
Give that to Lauren off, absolutely. BBU can turn that good. See if he can spot anyone coming, but no. Execration unaware of that Aegis being taken, and now it is dead even in terms of net worth, but Aegis advantage for Gambit.
Gary, I know these mid players. Do you think
In your
he's gonna switch to Kaya Sanj because he is holding on to Aegis? Just simple.
On the Storm?
On the Storm. Simple yes or no.
What about Bloodstone?
No. He
No?
he needs to upgrade the Ogre Axe.
Oh, I
Either
see, sorry.
BKB or Kaya
then-
Sanj.
No, he's going to go BKB. I think I trust Laura enough to make the rational decision.
That's rational, but knowing Dota players, I think he might go for it. Let's see if he gets the kill.
It looks like he will be able to grab Nico there, and the golem dropped on their heads though, but the finger of death finishes off the Bloodseeker. The Aim jumps in, takes out the Aegis immediately. Dream in a spot upon the now, just on your way. There's a lot of damage, the physical shred through. Flash right down and out, and Storm Shovel ball lightning off to the side towards Warlock. But Gambit able to reset here potentially, but under the stun, Bloodlight gets the dream right. Feel like capture and power. Anti-mage clears through, but Storm makes the secondary jump. Nice heal and sustain coming through for the AM as Afterlife holds his ground. And Nico, let's see if we can chase this one. He missed the timber chain. AM wants back in. They'll find their fourth kill. It's actually a 5-man wipe, including that Aegis, as Execration needed 2 heroes and 1 buyback.
Like, imagine if Flashtrack used his abilities in that fight with the Fatal Bonds. Stormspirit just dies immediately, and you lost the Aegis. You can't afford to get Kaya and Sanj. You need to get that BKB.
Absolutely. Desperate need of that BKB. And what was that, a buyback from Bloodseeker? Lash died, but you get 4 kills plus the Aegis, so yeah, 5 kills all in all. And Gambit, once again on the back foot, forced to retreat to their side of the map. And Storm Spirit hiding in the trees as Execration close in around Lorinov. BDZ, Yoe, onto the tier 1 tower.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Let's see if they can spot out the Storm or any of these other Radiant heroes coming in. Storm makes a little half jump forward. BZZ front lines a little bit, but it's Execration retreating once more. Back to their triangle, gather up the safe farm on the map.
They should feel very confident going into mid and late game with their lineup. Flashtrack scales well. Anti-Mage doesn't necessarily need to be strong and carry-to-carry matchup. They can deal with him later on. Just be able to blow up Storm Spirit and the supports, and then go back in and finish off the Lifestealer.
AM gets complete free time down bottom now. Batcher done. There's no real great way to catch him right now. And Lifesteal is coming down here to take out an Observer Ward, clear out the remnants of that lane remaining. And Radiant do catch a glimpse of someone with their scan around the Arcane Rune top. BZZ attempts to deny, but BDZ is there to grab it.
I gotta be careful with the Bs and the
I
D.
do. Bs and Zs everywhere. Oh, kills off the neutral creep. Nice little vendetta.
Just in general, we gotta take
Save the
better-
bees.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily Gary B, but the important bees.
The important
Gary.
bees. Well, I don't make any honey, do I? So I'm absolutely useless. Save the bees. Something I've been watching a lot of is the people that go around like taking a swarm of bees, putting it into a new home, finding the queen, gathering them up. It's very therapeutic.
And, like, that's all cool unless you're allergic to bees.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
Like, oh no.
Don't get stung. That's some nasty stuff.
AM.
Wasps, on the
Basher.
other hand, not a fan of them.
Not a fan.
They're not bees
They're really not
Towers under
contributing anything.
to society whatsoever.
has fallen.
Evil, evil little things. Well, there's the tower. Third time lucky. Execration take that tier 1 top.
Green
And they
Dude's
are
top
playing
thing
very
is about to get
patiently.
knocked over.
Again, it's just that group up, stay together, make sure that no one is an obvious target for the Storm Infest bombs, and it forces Gambit to go out hunting and looking for a big team fight. There's a lot of scribbling on the map there, Lacoste. It feels like they're a little bit
Yeah,
confused about where they want to go.
Very artistic team overall. Just you know, while they're playing Dota, they're drawing some stuff on the minimap.
A bit of cubism, a little bit of impressionism going. But our very own Picasso's here on Gambit. BDZ Vendetta, so he'll be able to scout any smokes coming from the right-hand side. And Execration playing the fog in the tree lines. This is a nice little spread. High ground ward, the Tinker ward on the left side. And BDZ, he'll see Afterlife. Doesn't want to really kick things off for Timbersaw. And Leshrac, the turnaround, they run through Afterlife almost immediately. With nice fuels up as well as Lauren off BKB. Spent into the goal. They get the big stun in. Take him down. It's a beautiful catch on the Dream as well. The lifestealer and Timbersaw shredded in an instant. And Yoe still alive. They save the Leshrac. Keep that magical damage going. And triple down to that final touch on the Storm Spirit and Gambit. Left without a hope or a prayer.
Big play from Yowie. There he is waiting. He gets a stun on Timbersaw.
5-man. Yoe comes through again.
That's another one. Yeah, he's holding on to Yule Scepter. Storm Spirit tries to jump and understand that he is going for him. Yule Scepter will post Noah, plus Edict is running. He needs to back off while still feeling the damage, and there should be a free tier 2 tower. I don't want to be too negative, Gary, at the moment, but I just don't see that this lineup can